Hello Dub Nation, it's always a thrill to connect with you, especially as we're about to reveal the latest news that could shape the fate of our beloved Golden State Warriors. But before we dive into this whirlwind of information, let me make a friendly request. Show us some love by clicking the like button to strengthen our bond, and hey, if you are not subscribed yet, join our channel for a thrilling and emotional journey. Don't forget to turn on notifications to stay ahead of the game.
We're figuring it out. Draymond Green sends a clear message about the Warriors' goals for next season, sparking optimism among fans. The Golden State Warriors may not be making loud declarations about their goals just yet, but make no mistake, the mission for next season is clear. While the roster remains in flux, and no official moves have been confirmed, the Warriors are actively working behind the scenes. Reports suggest veteran big man Al Horford is locked in, and there's strong interest in bringing back De'Anthony Melton, pursuing former Rookie of the Year Malcolm Brogdon, and re-signing Gary Payton II, a move reportedly backed by none other than Stephen Curry. But as of now, everything remains in a holding pattern, especially with Jonathan Kuminga's future still unresolved. Still, amid the uncertainty, one thing is crystal clear: Draymond Green isn't backing down from championship talk. While grinding through his off-season workouts, Green delivered a strong and spirited message about what the Warriors are chasing next season. Feeling great. 6 weeks out. Right where I need to be, baby. And we're coming for that trophy next year. Classic Draymond, confident, fired up, and laser-focused on what matters most: winning. And while some might see that as typical Green bravado, the numbers back him up. After acquiring Jimmy Butler mid-season last year, the Warriors went on a tear, posting an impressive 23-7 record to close the regular season. They rolled past the Rockets in the first round of the playoffs, only to fall to Minnesota, largely due to Stephen Curry's absence with an injury. But the foundation is there. And with the right additions, especially a versatile big who can stretch the floor and ease the load on Green in small ball lineups, Golden State could easily return to contender status in the crowded Western Conference. Draymond isn't the only one who believes. Curry has also voiced his confidence in the Warriors' core and their ability to fight for another title, even with the roster still unfinished. It all comes down to smart moves and veteran leadership. If the front office hits the mark this off-season, don't be surprised if the Warriors are right back in the championship conversation come next spring. And the buzz is already building. Draymond's bold declaration has started to ripple through NBA circles, reigniting debates about whether the Warriors are truly past their prime, or simply reloading for another deep playoff run. Fans and analysts alike are watching closely, as every rumored move could reshape the team's trajectory heading into next season. The potential addition of Malcolm Brogdon, for example, would add much-needed stability and shot creation in the backcourt, something the Warriors sorely lacked when Curry was off the floor. Brogdon's experience, leadership, and efficiency could be a perfect fit for Steve Kerr's system, especially if he can stay healthy. Then there's De'Anthony Melton, a gritty two-way guard whose defensive versatility could fill the void left by Klay Thompson's departure. Melton's perimeter defense and off-ball instincts would pair well with Curry, helping to solidify Golden State's identity on both ends of the court. And let's not forget Gary Payton II, a fan favorite and defensive specialist who already knows the system. Bringing him back would re-establish a high-level defensive presence off the bench, and his chemistry with Curry and Green is undeniable. But perhaps the most intriguing storyline revolves around Jonathan Kuminga. His future with the team remains in question, with trade rumors continuing to swirl. At just 22, Kuminga has shown flashes of brilliance, and moving him would be a major statement about the franchise's commitment to winning now. It's a delicate balancing act between developing young talent and maximizing the remaining championship window of the core trio: Curry, Green, and Thompson, if re-signed. All eyes are now on GM Mike Dunleavy Jr. and the Warriors front office. Every decision from here on out will be scrutinized, not just for its impact on next season, but for what it says about the long-term direction of the franchise. Social media has lit up since Green's comments, with fans posting throwback highlights, media personalities debating the Warriors' ceiling, and players around the league taking notice. If the Warriors are able to lock in their off-season targets, and if Curry, Green, and the rest of the core stay healthy, it's not just wishful thinking to believe they could be back in the finals mix. As Draymond said, they're coming for that trophy, and the league would be wise not to count them out. Steph Curry reacts to Draymond Green's bold championship declaration: "We're not done yet." The Golden State Warriors have been under fire this off-season, not for the moves they've made, but for the ones they haven't. Fans and critics have questioned the team's silence, but behind the scenes, there's a very real reason. Until Jonathan Kuminga's contract situation is resolved, the Warriors are handcuffed in free agency. Any premature signings could complicate their ability to bring him back. And yet, even with all the uncertainty, one thing remains unchanged. The fire inside this core is still burning hot. The trio of Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler, all 35 or older, knows time isn't on their side. They're no longer in their athletic prime, but they've replaced that with something just as valuable: experience, leadership, and championship grit. Curry and Green have already climbed the mountain 4 times. Butler, as hungry as ever, is chasing his first ring. Together, they're not planning on just competing. They want to win it all. That much was clear in a recent off-season workout video featuring Green and Butler, where Draymond didn't mince words. "We're getting that S** this year, ***, he said, staring straight into the camera, and into the hearts of Warriors fans everywhere. It was classic Draymond, raw, passionate, and absolutely fearless. And it didn't take long for Steph Curry to respond. He didn't need words. Just a simple eyes medium skin tone person raising both hands in celebration was enough. It said everything. They're locked in. And they're not backing down. A roster in limbo, but not without potential. So where does that leave the Warriors roster? At this stage, it's tough to say. The ongoing saga with Kuminga continues to cloud the team's ability to make strategic moves. The most realistic short-term outcome? Kuminga accepts the qualifying offer, stays for the season, and possibly becomes a trade piece by the deadline, potentially bringing in a high-impact starter. Beyond that, the Warriors will lean heavily on internal development and smart role-player contributions. Players like Brandon Podziemski, Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, and rookie Quinton Post will be expected to step up. There's also strong interest in adding names like Al Horford, DeAnthony Melton, Gary Payton II, and even Seth Curry, all of whom could offer depth, veteran presence, and situational value. Still, none of these additions are game changers on their own. The reality is this: for the Warriors to be true contenders again, their big three, Curry, Green, and Butler, must play like all-stars from day one. High stakes, high expectations. It's a make-or-break year. The Western Conference isn't getting any easier, and the Warriors know it. But this team isn't built around excuses, it's built around belief. And belief, in the hands of champions, is a dangerous thing. If Golden State can re-sign Kuminga, stay healthy, and maybe pull off a smart trade before the deadline, suddenly, all the doubt fades. Suddenly, that bold proclamation from Draymond doesn't sound so crazy. Steph Curry is locked in. Draymond Green is all in. Jimmy Butler is on a mission. The window may be smaller, but the dream is just as big. And if you ask the Warriors, they're not chasing one last title. They're chasing the perfect ending to a legendary run. The championship window is narrow, but still open. As the Warriors gear up for what could be the final chapter of their dynasty, one thing is clear: they're betting big on belief, chemistry, and late-career greatness. Internally, there's growing urgency. Mike Dunleavy Jr., in his second year as GM, is walking a tightrope, balancing long-term flexibility with the short-term reality that Steph Curry won't be around forever. That urgency is shared by ownership, coaching staff, and the players themselves. Draymond's explosive proclamation wasn't just locker room hype, it was a message to the league, the front office, and maybe even to Kuminga: we're not waiting. We're going for it now. Kuminga's situation looms large. Jonathan Kuminga remains the most intriguing, and most complicated, piece of the puzzle. At just 22, his ceiling is sky high. But sources close to the team have hinted at growing frustration on both sides. The Warriors value him but are hesitant to offer a large, long-term extension without knowing if he fits their current title timeline. Kuminga, on the other hand, wants a bigger role and long-term security, and is not wrong to ask for it. If the stalemate continues into training camp, the Warriors may have to pivot toward a trade, ideally bringing in a veteran starter who can contribute immediately. That move, if it happens, could define their entire season. Insiders have linked Golden State to names like Jerami Grant, Kyle Kuzma, or even Pascal Siakam in hypothetical scenarios, all players who could elevate their frontcourt versatility and help stretch the floor. While no deal is imminent, the message is loud and clear: Kuminga is either the future or the key to saving the present. The league is watching, so are the fans. Draymond's comments, and Steph's reaction, didn't just stay within the Warriors' orbit. They made waves. NBA Twitter exploded. Former players and analysts weighed in. Some applauded the Warriors' confidence, calling it the heart of a champion. Others weren't so generous, accusing the team of living in the past and failing to accept the changing landscape of the Western Conference. Still, the respect for Curry and Green is undeniable. These are battle-tested warriors, pun intended, with championship DNA. And now, with Jimmy Butler joining their mission, the stakes have never been higher, or more personal. If the Warriors stumble early, the criticism will be brutal. But if they find rhythm, if the roster gels, and if Dunleavy pulls the right strings, they'll be right back where they believe they belong, on top. Final thoughts. Bet against them at your own risk. It's easy to look at their age, their incomplete roster, or the rise of younger teams and write the Warriors off. But history has taught us one thing about Steph Curry and Draymond Green. They don't need a perfect roster, they just need a shot. This season may be their last real run together. And that's exactly what makes them dangerous. The window is narrow. The pressure is real. But the belief? Stronger than ever. And as Draymond said, they're not just showing up. They're coming to take that S*****. Warriors expected to land 4 of the best remaining free agents. After a quiet off-season, things might finally be heating up in the Bay. The Golden State Warriors have kept fans waiting this summer, and for good reason. Following a bittersweet playoff run, including a strong first-round upset over the No. 2 seed Houston Rockets, the team's hopes were derailed by a key injury to Stephen Curry, which ultimately led to a second-round exit against the Timberwolves. But despite the early exit, the series offered one major silver lining: Jonathan Kuminga. The young forward, once believed to be on his way out, showed flashes of the star potential the franchise had always hoped for. Still, as we enter September, Kuminga and the Warriors have yet to reach a deal, and with training camp fast approaching, that situation remains the biggest domino yet to fall. That unresolved contract has, so far, put a freeze on free agent signings. But once it's settled, expect movement. Fast. According to Eric Pincus of Bleacher Report, Golden State is lining up a potential late off-season haul, projecting the Warriors to land 4 of the top remaining free agents on the market. If these predictions come true, the Warriors could quietly emerge as one of the most improved teams in the West. Who could be headed to the Bay? 1. De'Anthony Melton, guard. A familiar face, Melton started last season with Golden State before being traded mid-year for Dennis Schroeder. His season was cut short by a serious injury, but if he's healthy, Melton brings much-needed defense and toughness to the backcourt. Given his recent injury, a veteran minimum deal is the likely path, a low-risk, high-upside move. 2. Gary Payton II, guard. Another reunion in the works. Payton was one of Golden State's most consistent role players after the All-Star break, putting together one of the strongest offensive stretches of his career. Already beloved for his elite defense and hustle, it makes perfect sense for both sides to run it back. The Warriors know exactly what they're getting, and that's a huge plus at this stage of the off-season. 3. Al Horford, center. Perhaps the most talked-about name linked to the Warriors this summer is Al Horford, the 39-year-old veteran big man from the Boston Celtics. Despite his age, Horford remains one of the smartest defenders in the game and would bring championship experience and floor spacing to a team that sorely needs it in the front court. Think of him as a savvy, high IQ partner to Quinton Post, who impressed last season as a stretch big. 4. Jonathan Kuminga, forward. The most important piece, however, might be the one already in the building. While Kuminga is technically a restricted free agent, his unresolved status has created plenty of speculation. Pincus believes Kuminga will eventually accept the Warriors' 2-year, $45 million qualifying offer, ending the uncertainty and locking him in as part of the core, or potentially a key trade asset down the line. What it all means for Golden State. If Golden State pulls this off, keeping Kuminga and bringing in veteran depth, it would signal a clear message: they're not just reloading, they're coming to compete. Melton and Payton could instantly revive the Warriors' defensive identity, while Horford's leadership and versatility would give the front court the stability it lacked last season. And retaining Kuminga, whether to develop further or to use in a major trade, ensures the Warriors have flexibility going into a crucial year. Yes, the Western Conference is stacked. Yes, the roster still has question marks. But if these 4 names join the fold, the Warriors could quietly become one of the most dangerous under-the-radar teams in the league, a team led by champions who still believe the job's not finished. And with Curry, Green, and Butler laser-focused on one final run, you'd be crazy to count them out. A strategic off-season, or a desperate push. For some, Golden State's rumored moves may seem like a last-ditch effort to stay relevant in a rapidly evolving Western Conference. But from another angle, it looks more like a calculated chess game, one that could pay off big if all the pieces fall into place. While other franchises made splashy, headline-grabbing signings in July, the Warriors opted for patience. That patience may soon pay off. Instead of overpaying early, Golden State appears to be capitalizing on market timing, targeting veterans whose value has dropped due to injuries, age, or fit concerns, but who can still make a real impact in the right environment. With Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and now Jimmy Butler all laser-focused on another title, the front office seems determined to surround them with proven role players who understand winning basketball. And that's where guys like Horford, Melton, and Payton II shine. These aren't long-term projects. They're plug-and-play veterans who can step into the Warriors system and contribute immediately, defensively, especially, where Golden State took a step back last season. Combined with younger contributors like Podziemski, Moody, and Post, this mix of youth and experience could quietly form one of the most balanced rotations in the West. The Kuminga dilemma, pressure mounting on both sides. But of course, everything still hinges on Jonathan Kuminga. The longer the stalemate drags on, the more pressure mounts, on both sides. For Golden State, it's the inability to make roster moves without knowing how Kuminga fits into the cap sheet. For Kuminga, it's the shrinking number of teams with the cap space or trade flexibility to offer him what he wants. And that's why insiders like Eric Pincus believe a resolution is near. If Kuminga accepts the reported 2-year, $45 million qualifying offer, it gives the Warriors control, and potentially opens the door to a trade before the deadline if a win-now opportunity arises. In other words, locking in Kuminga could be the key that unlocks the rest of the off-season. Reactions from around the league. The league is starting to take notice. While early off-season headlines were dominated by teams like the Thunder, Mavericks, and Nuggets, the Warriors are quietly entering dark horse territory again. Pundits who once dismissed Golden State as too old or too thin are beginning to reconsider, especially in light of Butler's arrival and the looming return of Kuminga. On social media, fan reaction has been mixed, hopeful, yet cautious. Some see a repeat of 2022, a veteran squad counted out early, only to rally behind a rejuvenated Steph Curry. Others worry the window has already closed and the front office is clinging to a fading core. But there's one thing most fans agree on. If these projected signings materialize, this roster becomes much deeper, tougher, and more playoff-ready than it was just months ago. Final thoughts. One move away. The truth is, Golden State might just be one move away from becoming a serious threat again. If Kuminga re-signs, and the team locks in its targeted free agents, the Warriors would boast a championship-tested core, Curry, Green, Butler. A defensively elite supporting cast, Melton, Payton II, Horford. Promising youth and shooting depth, Moody, Podziemski, Hield, Post. And the trade chips needed to make a blockbuster deal at the deadline. It's not a perfect roster. But it doesn't have to be. Not with Stephen Curry still playing at an MVP level and a front office that knows how to win in June. The Warriors don't need a rebuild. They just need the right break. And if these pieces fall into place, the league's most dangerous dynasty might not be done just yet. Goodbye. Robert Horry's take on Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving might sting a bit for Spurs legend Tony Parker. Robert Horry is one of the most decorated NBA players in history, with an incredible 7 championship rings to his name. Known for his clutch performances and championship pedigree, Horry built a remarkable legacy with the Los Angeles Lakers, Houston Rockets, and San Antonio Spurs. Throughout his career, he shared the court with some of the biggest legends in the game, names like Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan. So when Robert Horry speaks about elite talent, people listen. Robert Horry leaves out Tony Parker in favor of Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving. During his 5 seasons with the Spurs, Horry had a front-row seat to the brilliance of Tony Parker, one of the greatest point guards of his generation. Parker was instrumental in helping San Antonio win 4 NBA titles, and he earned 6 All-Star selections over the course of his 18-year career. But even with all of Parker's accolades, Horry made a bold choice when he was asked to play a popular NBA game, start, bench, cut, with the options being Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, and Tony Parker. Horry didn't hold back. Start Steph. Kyrie comes off the bench. And Tony, goodbye, Horry said with a hint of regret. I love Tony to death, but Kyrie? Better player. Steph? Better player. He quickly added, it's no disrespect to Tony. "I'm just keeping it real. You know me, I don't sugarcoat things," he explained on the Big Shot Bob podcast. Horry's honesty may come from a good place, but it's hard to say how Parker might take being left off in favor of two modern stars. Still, the debate speaks volumes about the level of respect Curry and Irving command today. Tony Parker eyes a return to the NBA, this time on the sidelines. Though Parker stepped away from playing in 2019, he's far from done with basketball. After being inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2023, the French legend now has his sights set on a new challenge: coaching in the NBA. Having spent nearly 2 decades under the guidance of Greg Popovich, arguably the greatest coach of all time, Parker has a deep understanding of the game and the leadership skills to match. Currently, he's serving as president and general manager of Asvel, a top-tier basketball team in France, but whispers suggest he's open to making a move back to the NBA, this time from the bench. With his basketball IQ, experience, and proven winning mentality, it wouldn't be a surprise to see Parker leading an NBA team in the near future. The basketball world reacts. Mixed feelings over Horry's bold call. Horry's comment quickly made waves across the NBA community. Fans, analysts, and even former players took to social media to weigh in. Some agreed with Horry's logic. After all, Steph Curry has revolutionized the game with his unmatched shooting range, and Kyrie Irving's handle and shot-making ability have dazzled fans for over a decade. But others felt the decision to cut Tony Parker was a little too dismissive. "People forget how clutch Parker was in the playoffs," one fan wrote on X, formerly Twitter. "He was the Finals MVP in 2007 and dominated against LeBron's Cavs. Show some respect." NBA analyst and former player Jalen Rose also chimed in during an ESPN segment. "Look, I get what Horry's saying. Curry and Kyrie are generational offensive talents. But Tony Parker was the heartbeat of those Spurs teams. He brought leadership, consistency, and championship DNA. Cutting him? That's harsh." The conversation sparked a broader debate about how today's flashier play styles might overshadow the contributions of more traditional, system-oriented stars like Parker, especially those who thrived in team-first cultures like San Antonio. Behind the scenes, could Horry's comments affect Parker's coaching ambitions? With Parker actively exploring a future as an NBA head coach, Horry's comments, while likely unintentional, could add an extra layer of scrutiny. NBA front offices aren't just evaluating resumes anymore. Public narratives, leadership perception, and how former teammates view a potential coach can all play a role. While Horry didn't question Parker's intelligence or leadership, the implication that he wasn't on the same level as other elite guards might raise eyebrows in certain circles. Still, Parker's resume speaks for itself. He's a Hall of Famer, a 4-time champion, and a proven leader under one of the most demanding coaches in NBA history. His current success managing Asvel has also showcased his business acumen and eye for talent. Parker's silence, a strategic move? Interestingly, Parker hasn't responded publicly to Horry's remarks. Some believe he's taking the high road, staying focused on his long-term vision instead of engaging in media spats. Others speculate that Parker may be waiting for the right moment to share his perspective, perhaps in an interview or during an appearance tied to his coaching aspirations. Regardless, the story adds a fascinating layer to Parker's post-playing career. As the NBA continues evolving, the legacies of its former stars are constantly being re-examined, not just for what they did on the court, but for how they might shape the future of the league from the sidelines. What's next for Tony Parker? With coaching vacancies potentially opening up next season, especially on rebuilding teams looking for fresh voices, Parker's name is likely to come up. His international influence, deep playoff experience, and years of mentorship under Greg Popovich could make him an appealing candidate for front offices willing to take a bold step. Whether or not Robert Horry's comments will linger remains to be seen, but one thing's certain: Tony Parker is far from done making an impact on the game of basketball.